Have you ever felt like life is happening to you rather than for you? Like no matter how hard you work, something invisible keeps pulling the strings. What if I told you there's one underlying principle, a hidden force shaping every decision you make, every relationship you have, even your successes and failures? This isn't about luck, fate, or even hard work. It's about leverage. One universal law that once you see, it explains why some people seem to have it all, while others struggle endlessly. And the shocking part, you're already using this principle every day. You just don't realize it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot this principle in your life and, most importantly, how to flip the script and control it instead of letting it control you. Part 1. The invisible force governing your choices. Let's start with a simple question. How many decisions did you make today? What to wear, what to eat, whether to check your phone, to reply to that text now or later. Feels like you're in control, right? But here's the unsettling truth. Most of those choices weren't really yours. Studies from Duke University show that up to 40% of our daily actions aren't decisions at all. They're habits. Automatic scripts your brain runs to save energy. Think about it. When you woke up this morning, did you decide to reach for your phone, or did your hand just move on its own? When you drove to work, could you recall every turn, or was it autopilot? This isn't just about habits though, it's about leverage. The principle is this: your life is shaped by the inputs you're exposed to, not the choices you think you're making. Here's what that means. The food you eat, heavily influenced by what's stocked in your pantry, which depends on the ads you saw. The store layouts designed to manipulate your shopping, even the dopamine hits your brain craves from sugar. The people you date. Statistically, you'll pick someone within a 5-mile radius of where you live or work. Not because of fate, because of exposure. Even bigger decisions, careers, friendships, beliefs follow the same rule. A Harvard study tracked 10,000 people over 20 years and found that over 60% of career changes were triggered by random encounters. A conversation at a party, a LinkedIn message from a stranger, not careful planning. Your brain is a prediction machine. It doesn't weigh every option, it reacts to what's around you. And that's the invisible force. You don't choose from all possibilities. You choose from what your environment, your habits, and your brain's shortcuts put in front of you. So when you feel stuck, like life's happening to you, it's not laziness or bad luck. It's the principle working in the background. The good news: once you see it, you can change it. But first, we need to talk about why most people never do. Part 2. The leverage effect. Why some people win and others don't. Now that you know your choices are being steered by hidden forces, let's answer the real question. Why do some people seem to bend life to their will, while others stay stuck? It's not talent, it's not even hard work. Because here's the brutal truth: people can work just as hard and get completely different results. A street vendor in Mumbai hustles 16-hour days. A Silicon Valley founder works the same hours. The difference isn't effort, it's leverage. Leverage is the multiplier that turns your actions into disproportionate results. Think of it like this: push a boulder uphill alone and you'll sweat for inches. But place a lever under it, and the same effort moves it feet. Most people are pushing boulders. The ones who win, they find the lever. So where does leverage come? From 3 places: attention, networks, and repetition. First, attention. The average person checks their phone 144 times a day. That's not just distraction, it's a leak in their mental leverage. Every time you scroll, you're not just wasting minutes, you're training your brain to crave cheap dopamine instead of deep focus. Cal Newport's research at Georgetown proves it. People who block just 90 minutes of uninterrupted focus daily outperform 90% of their peers within a year. Not because they're smarter, because they stopped leaking leverage, second networks. MIT's Human Dynamics Lab found that your income will usually land within 20% of the average of your 5 closest contacts. Not because of some cosmic rule, because your network determines your access. The right introduction, the right advice at the right time, even the right criticism, all of it compounds. Most people stay in networks that limit them without realizing it. And third, repetition. Not just doing something over and over, but doing the right thing in the right system. Take writing. If you write 1 page a day, in a year you've got a book. But if you write 1 page a day and publish it online, suddenly you're building an audience, getting feedback, attracting opportunities. Same effort, different leverage. Here's the kicker: leverage isn't fair. The rich get richer because money is leverage. The connected get more connected because networks are leverage. But here's what nobody tells you: you already have leverage points. You're just not using them deliberately. In the next part, we'll talk about how to find yours and why your brain fights you every step of the way. Part 3. How your brain is wired to obey this rule. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Even if you know about leverage, your brain doesn't want you to use it, because your mind wasn't built for success. It was built for survival. And survival doesn't care about leverage. Survival cares about safety, about conserving energy, about sticking with what's familiar. Let me show you how this works. Every decision you make gets filtered through 3 primal systems in your brain. First, the amygdala, your fear center. It's why you'll stay in a dead-end job for years, even when you know you should leave. Because to your amygdala, the risk of change feels more dangerous than the reality of staying. UCLA neuroscience studies show that the brain processes uncertainty the same way it processes physical pain. That's not willpower failing. That's biology. Second, the dopamine system. It's not just about pleasure, it's about prediction. When your brain recognizes a pattern, like checking your phone and getting a like, it rewards you for repeating it, even when it's worthless. Stanford researchers found that the anticipation of a reward releases more dopamine than the reward itself. That's why you'll scroll for hours chasing something you don't even want. Your brain isn't weak, it's hijacked. Third, the default mode network. This is your autopilot. The part of your brain that daydreams, replays old conversations, and keeps you stuck in loops. Harvard studies show we spend 47% of our waking hours in this state, not thinking about the present, just recycling the past, or worrying about the future. So when you try to change, you're not fighting laziness, you're fighting 200,000 years of evolution. But here's the good news. Brains can be rewired, not by willpower, by design. Every Navy SEAL, every elite athlete, every successful entrepreneur uses the same trick. They don't rely on motivation. They engineer their environment so their brain has no choice but to obey. Cold showers, they force your body into focus mode. Morning routines, they hijack autopilot before the day does. The 5-second rule. It's a way to outrun the amygdala. Your brain will always choose the path of least resistance. So the key isn't to fight, it's to make the right path the easiest one. In the next part, we'll break down exactly how to do that and Why most people get it backwards. Part 4. The 3 levels of control. Victim, player, master. At this point, you might be realizing something unsettling. Most people live their entire lives without ever truly taking control. Not because they can't, but because they don't recognize the game being played around them. There are 3 levels of understanding this principle, and where you stand determines everything about how your life unfolds. Level 1. The victim. This is where most people live without realizing it. The victim believes life happens to them. Bad luck, unfair systems, other people's actions, they're at the mercy of forces they don't understand. Victims aren't lazy. In fact, many work incredibly hard, but they're trapped in reactive mode. They blame their job, their upbringing, their lack of connections. They think success is about chance, or worse, privilege they don't have. Here's the problem. The victim is right, but only about the first half. Yes, the world is unfair. Yes, systems are rigged. But believing that's the end of the story, that's how you stay stuck. Level 2. The player. The player wakes up. They realize that while they can't control everything, they can control how they respond. They start learning the rules of the game, leverage, networks, habits, and begin playing deliberately. Players take responsibility. They don't just work hard, they work smart. They optimize their environment, build skills that compound, and seek out mentors. They know luck exists, but they also know you can position yourself for better odds. But here's where most players plateau, because while they're in the game, they're still playing by someone else's rules. Level 3. The master. The master does something radical. They change the game entirely. Masters don't just respond to the world, they reshape it around them. They don't just find leverage, they create it. They don't wait for opportunities. They design systems that generate opportunities automatically. Think about it. The victim complains about algorithms controlling their attention. The player learns to hack the algorithm for their own growth. The master builds the algorithm. This isn't about money or power. It's about agency. The master knows the secret. You don't have to accept the default settings of your life. So where are you right now? Be honest, because the biggest trap isn't being a victim, it's being a player who thinks they're a master. The kind of person who reads books, joins courses, follows gurus, but still lets others dictate the terms of their life. The shift doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with one question. Are you playing the game, or are you being played by it? In the next part, we'll break down exactly how to move from where you are to where you want to be, step by step. Part 5. Rewriting your life's algorithm. You've seen the invisible rules controlling your life. You've recognized whether you're victim, player, or master. Now comes the only question that matters. How do you actually change it? This isn't about motivation. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about rewiring your reality at the deepest level, the level where your brain makes decisions before you're even aware of them. Let me show you what real change looks like. First, you need to understand that willpower is a myth. The Stanford marshmallow experiment got it wrong. It's not about self-control, it's about environment design. When researchers repeated the study with kids from different backgrounds, they found something shocking. The children who failed weren't weaker, they came from environments where promises were routinely broken. Their brains had learned that waiting didn't pay off. Your brain works the same way right now. Every time you've tried to change and failed, it wasn't because you didn't want it enough. It was because your environment was working against you. Here's how you flip the script. Start with your physical space. A study from Princeton Neuroscience Institute proved what clutter does to your brain. It's not just messy, it creates constant low-level stress that drains your focus. Every unnecessary object in your space is a tiny decision waiting to be made. Clear the space, and suddenly your brain has room to think. Then attack your inputs. MIT researchers found that the average person consumes 74 gigabytes of information daily. That's like reading 174 newspapers every single day. Your brain wasn't built for this. Every useless notification, every auto-playing video, every endless scroll is training your mind to crave distraction. The solution isn't moderation, it's surgical removal. But here's where most people stop. They clean their room, delete social media, and wonder why they're still stuck. Because the final piece isn't about removing the bad, it's about engineering. The good Harvard's positive psychology program discovered something fascinating. People who created forcing functions, physical changes that made good behaviors inevitable, were 327% more likely to maintain change long term. Want to exercise? Sleep in your workout clothes. Want to write? Leave your laptop open with a blank document. Want to eat better? Use smaller plates. This is how you hack your brain's laziness. You make the right path, the only path, the truth. You'll never feel like changing. But when you engineer your environment to make change unavoidable, you won't need to. That's how masters operate. They don't fight their biology. They use it in the next part. We'll expose the hidden traps that sabotage even the most engineered systems and how to bulletproof yourself against them. Part 6. When the principle works against you. Here's the cruel irony no one talks about. The same force that can propel you forward will absolutely work to keep you stuck if you let it. Right now, as you're listening to this, there are systems actively fighting against your progress. Not because they're evil, because they're designed that way. Take social media. Every time you resist checking your phone, you're not just fighting distraction, you're fighting teams of engineers with PhDs in neuroscience, who've spent years making their apps irresistible. Stanford's behavior design lab proved it takes 300% more cognitive effort to resist temptation than to avoid it in the first place. Or consider your social circle. When researchers at the University of Pennsylvania tracked people trying to make positive life changes, they found something disturbing. In 73% of cases, the person's closest relationships became the primary obstacle to change. Not because friends and family are toxic, because humans are wired to enforce group norms. Your subconscious mind reads their skepticism as danger. Even your own success can betray you. Northwestern University studied high achievers and discovered what they called the expertise trap. The more skilled someone became in their field, the less likely they were to see disruptive opportunities. Their brains had become so efficient at the old rules, they literally couldn't perceive the new game. Here's what this means. You will always be pulled backward by inertia. Always. The question isn't whether the resistance exists, it's whether you've prepared for it. Masters anticipate these forces. They know progress isn't linear. It's a series of rebellions against your own wiring. When they feel motivated, they don't celebrate. They build systems to carry them through the inevitable crash. When they succeed, they immediately ask, what? Is this success blinding me too? The principle never stops working. The only choice you have is whether it works for you or against you. In the final part, we'll talk about how to make this shift permanent, how to move from fighting your nature to working with it so completely that progress becomes inevitable. Part 7. The ripple effect, changing everything. Here's the secret they don't tell you about real transformation. It's never just about you. The moment you start operating by this principle, truly start living, it's something unpredictable happens. Your change becomes contagious. Your focus sharpens, and people notice. Your energy shifts, and opportunities appear. Your standards rise, and your entire environment either elevates to meet you or falls away. This isn't mystical thinking, it's physics. A Yale study on habit formation revealed something astonishing. When one person in a social group makes a positive change, there's a 34% increased likelihood that others in their circle will follow without a single conversation about it. Your behavior silently rewrites what's normal for everyone around you. But the ripple goes deeper. The University of California tracked decision-making patterns and found that every major life upgrade creates a threshold shift. Once you cross a certain level of clarity or capability, your brain stops recognizing your old limitations as valid. It's like your mind literally can't compute going back. People who escape poverty often report this. Past a certain point, they physically cannot tolerate financial recklessness anymore. Not because they're better, because their neural wiring has upgraded. And here's the most powerful part. This principle compounds. The better you get at leveraging it, the more it leverages you. That morning routine you forced yourself to stick with, it's now recruiting better opportunities to you while you sleep. The weak ties you nurtured out of discipline, they're now introducing you to your most pivotal connections. The standards you refused to lower, they're silently training people how to treat you. You won't just change your life, you'll change what life is capable of giving you. So here's my final question. What will you stop pretending you don't know tomorrow? Because once you see this principle, really see it, you can't unsee it. The only choice left is whether to use it or watch it use you.